Today we are with Fort Mill High School head baseball coach Travis Collier. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You just filled up your tank. You're walking into the gas station for a snack. What's going to be your selection?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with probably something proteinish. I'm on a little bit of a diet right now, carnivore diet, so I'm really into the protein side. But maybe throw in a little bit of candy. I do like the Baby Ruth candy bars. Kind of takes me back to my childhood a little bit, but and then more than likely a Diet Coke to go with it. And then I'm headed back to the truck. If I stand in there too long, I'll spend too much money.
It sounds like that New Year's resolution is still hanging on for you there with the
Yeah, it
protein.
it has to. I mean, I got to lose some weight, so. It's been pretty good, so I just got to keep it going.
Talk about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I started at Nation Ford in '07, '08. That was the first year Nation Ford opened. My position coach when I was in high school became the head coach at Nation Ford, and he got me into this, and I'm very grateful for that. And then I stayed at Nation Ford till 2015 was my last year there. 2016, I came back to Fort Mill and was an assistant there for 1 year, and then now I'm on year 10 as the head coach, and it's been really cool. It's awesome to be back where I graduated from. It's a lot of pride for me in that, and so I'm just excited about what I'm doing, where I'm at, around lot of great people, and we get a lot of support from Coach Hartso, our AD, and our principals, and it's just an amazing place to work at.
That's awesome. I can't say that I know a lot of head coaches that are the head coach at the school that they graduated from.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, there's just some pressure there because I've been around the program since 1998, and I know what's all there, the history behind it, and that's one thing we try to relay to our guys is, there's a lot of history of Fort Mill baseball. There's a lot of history of Fort Mill High School, and um, you know, to be in the 5A level now, a long time ago we weren't that big, and now we're huge, and it's been awesome to kind of see the evolution of the school over since I've been here and since 1998. So I just think it's pretty awesome. It's an awesome place. A lot of great people that work there. We as a school talk about family, and it's very much a family.
I wanted to say something about your state champion wrestling team. 4 years in a row. That's really that's really impressive.
Yeah, they're Coach Murillo. Coach Brock got that thing right for a long time, and then Coach Murillo came in and took over, and he hasn't missed a beat. And Coach Brock won state championship his last year, and Coach Murillo's been running the show the last three and won three state championships, and to make it four in a row, and it's absolutely incredible what they're doing, and I'm super happy for those guys.
Let's talk about what you got on the field heading into this year.
Yeah, so we lost 15 seniors last year. It was 12 of those 15 were signed to go play in college. We got knocked out in two games in the playoffs, which was disappointing, but that's high school baseball for you. So you come in thinking you know what you got, and then some days you just don't have it. And that's the beauty of high school baseball. We're going to be very young, very inexperienced in some places. We have four seniors total on our roster, and we're excited though because the youth is really good. It's given us an opportunity to kind of reset some stuff that we've put a lot of pride into over the last, you know, 6, 7 months, and the kids have done a really good job of buying in. I mean, at some point throughout the year, we could have two freshmen and a sophomore and possibly either a junior or senior at first. So, I mean, we're going to be very, very young, but there's a lot of talent there that we're excited about.
Thing about being young is you gotta start somewhere. You can't get any game time and learn if you don't start somewhere.
That's right, and that's the part that's exciting. You get to put these guys in stressful situations early and just watch them grow for the next 4 years, and that's the part we're excited about, and something we as a staff talk about a good bit. So we're excited. I mean, it's just a new opportunity for us. We haven't been in this situation in a while in terms of a rebuild type, and it's going really well. The kids have bought into what we're trying to do, and we're starting to see after two scrimmages. We scrimmaged last night, and after two scrimmages, it's starting to pay off. Still work to do, but it's starting to pay off.
What do college coaches care about that not too many parents would notice?
I think it's number one is how they treat their teammates, how they treat their parents. Those things are important. How they treat their coaches. It's not so much about the accolades on the field. Sometimes it's about fit as well, like a skill set. Some kids, each kid has a different skill set that they bring to the table, and we spent some time with some college coaches this fall and picking their brain on some information, and that's what they talked about. They don't bring in guys to work with them on their swing. They're bringing in guys that fit what they're already trying to do, so there's not a big adjustment period. And so it's just, I think if parents didn't look around and they don't see a lot of things, to me, it's the interaction piece and the consistency piece. Yes, you can go 0 for 4, but do you rebound? And so it's just there's a lot of different factors depending on the school, but I think one of the biggest things is how they interact with their teammates, their coaches. Um, when things aren't going their way, how do they respond to that? And just those types of things. It's not so much a lot of parents just focus on what's happening on the field. It's just as important off the field as well.
What made you want to coach at the high school level?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is being able to influence these guys and get them set up for life. We do a lot of different things with our guys, a lot of team building stuff. We spend a lot of time in the fall talking about what it is to be a good person outside of baseball. We do biblical leadership on Wednesday mornings. We have 30, 35 guys show up to that every week. And so it's very incredible what our guys do. But I think, for me, the biggest thing about the high school level is we have an opportunity to set the foundation for them for the rest of their life. And, even if they don't know it and they don't recognize it right away, 5 years, 10 years down the road, they recognize it. And some guys come back and say, Coach, you're exactly right. What you were trying to teach us, we appreciate what you've done. And that's the cool part.
Going off of what you just said, I'm sure that like 5 or 10 years down the road, you get that you probably get text messages and phone calls saying thank you for what you did for me. This is where I'm at in life. Just texting and keeping up with your former players.
Yeah, so we started back when it snowed or when it iced, one of the two. They kind of ran together, to be honest with you, because they happened back to back weeks. But me and one of my assistants, we started a text chain from the last 5 years. We're going to go deeper, but we started with the last 5 years and put them all in groups and been sending texts like, "Hey, let us know what you're doing, where you're at." And it's been incredible. It's kind of crazy to hear some of the responses. Some of them are getting married. Some of them are nurses and about to be doctors and different things. And it's just incredible what they're going out in this world and accomplishing. And it's cool. It's a good feeling to know we kind of had a hand in that a little bit.
Yeah,
Obviously their parents play a big role, their hard work in school and different things plays a big role, but um, you know, it's just cool to know we had a little bit of a part of that.
that's awesome. I bet you guys definitely enjoy sending those text messages and keeping up with those guys.
Yeah, I got one this morning that which I think is cool. Sorry, my dog is jumping on me.
No, you're
One
good.
thing is cool. He texted this morning and said he's playing college baseball along with refereeing high school basketball,
Oh wow.
and he's about to get into the college ranks a little bit. So I think that's pretty cool. He's giving back to the game. Helping young kids, and we do have a shortage in umpires and referees, and I think that's cool that he's getting involved, and staying in and being able to help young kids.
Well, that's definitely one way get some to get some thick skin is to become a high school baseball umpire.
Better get some real quick.
Yeah. In your time at Fort Mill High School, you've had a pretty solid amount of guys that went on to play college and baseball. Talk about some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'll be honest with you, we've had so many over the last few years. Um, I hate to say this, I've kind of lost count. How many playing at a college level? I know we have a good many. We try to sit down once or twice a year and write out where everybody is and how everybody's doing and check up on them, statistically. But I mean, guys like JT Marr and Mikey Tepper, Matthew Curtis, Connor Rasmussen. There's many more that are out there. Carter Blankenship's out there, Brent Lauder, JB Walters, Michael Rogers. I mean, there's the list goes on and on. David Christ is up playing up north with his brother Nick, and there's just so many guys from our program still playing. It's very incredible. Uh, we are now in my 10 years, with this being my 10th. We've had three drafted. One's playing with the Braves, one's with the Royals, and one's with the Nationals. So we're starting to get those guys at the higher levels. Two of them have been hanging around the program for the last couple months, getting their work in, and we've been able to learn from them, and they've been able to teach our kids, and that's been really cool. Our guys have really loved that. So just very proud of what we've accomplished as a staff, as a program, in that regard, with the amount of guys we still got playing and that have gone off and played, and now we're getting married and doing different things.
Yeah. AT, I remember coming out to watch him. He had a pretty solid career. But I'll tell you one thing he struggles at. He cannot keep his driver in the fairway to save his life.
Yeah. Well,
He
you
can't
know
keep
what?
he can't keep that thing on the face of the planet.
That's the baseball swing in him for sure. The funny thing about JT is I remember when he came, I was teaching middle school PE, and I remember when he was in the middle school level, and then it's been really cool with him to I've been with him for a while, and following him, and got to teach him, and then coach him at the high school level. Um, so that's been really cool to see his progression. And then go to his wedding the other day makes me feel really old.
Yeah,
As you can tell, as I'm getting gray in my goatee, but I, I think it's pretty awesome. Now, if he needs to work on his golf game, we may need to work on getting him a driving range package or something like that.
yeah. If I ever don't have a shirt or some shorts, all I gotta do is go ask him. He only transferred colleges about 6 or 7 times. So he's got about 6 or 7 sets of shirts and shorts.
Yeah, he went to some pretty cool places though. Like started down in Florida, and then Flodar, and then College of Charleston, Penn State. I mean, his resume is pretty impressive.
Yeah. What advice would you give an incoming freshman?
Spend a lot of time in the weight room. That's the biggest thing we see. The skill set's there for a lot of them. I will say we're starting to see, because of travel baseball, really lower and lower baseball IQ in high pressure situations, where to go, where the ball needs to go, where they're supposed to be, those types of things. A lot of times they can't think for themselves because they've always kind of been told what to do. Um, but learning that freedom a little bit and getting in the weight room, spend some time in the weight room, make that a passion of yours in the off season because that's going to carry you. I think one of the biggest things we see with freshmen is their bodies break down about mid-March. They're starting to get tired mid-March. They haven't thrown this much in their lives. They haven't conditioned this much, along with lifting, going to class, homework, traveling on a bus. Break down, they get tired, and about spring break times where you really see it. And so, just getting in shape to where if your body does start breaking down a little bit, you have enough to maintain and get through the season.
Sort of following up with that, what are your thoughts on playing baseball year round rather than playing like two or three different sports?
I think guys need to play different sports because it's a different muscle group you're using. Um, and I think each sport kind of teaches you different life skills. I really believe that. But, I don't think guys need to be playing baseball year round. It's crazy. I'm starting to see 9 and 10-year-olds playing from February to Christmas time, and then they take about a month off and they try again. It's just too much, and we're starting to see a rise in surgeries on the elbow and in the shoulders, and I mean you're
Yeah.
starting to see it in the pros right now. I mean starting pitchers are barely making it through 5 innings, and then all of a sudden, every team probably goes through at least 3 to 4 major league guys that end up with Tommy John. So I just my big thing right now is I think there needs to be some time off. There's nothing wrong with playing, one that it's always been in my life in the summer is baseball. That's the best time of year to play. I feel like it's just you don't have school, you just have baseball. It's warm, it's hot outside, and I think you play through the summer and then take the fall off, get in the weight room, condition, work on mechanics and fundamentals and there is something to be said for some live game reps, but I, I also think there's a lot there for practice and spending time in the weight room and getting your body right so your body can handle what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on when kids should start throwing curveballs?
Well, that one's a tough one. You're starting to see it at the little league level. The little league game has changed. It's a lot more, velocity, a lot more power for guys. Kids are a little stronger than maybe when I was younger. But I just think, really until their growth plates are done growing. Obviously, some of them they're late bloomers and that holds them back. But I just think you got to wait until your body's quite ready for that and handle that strain because, like I said, you're starting to see a rise in some injuries that could be avoidable if we start to limit some of this stuff.
Yeah. Until about 2 or 3 years ago, well, maybe not even 2 or 3 years ago, maybe like this year and this past year, the first time I've ever heard of high schoolers having to have Tommy John surgery.
Yeah,
Now,
it's starting to
I don't
get
know
pretty.
if you've ever had to deal with that, but I've starting
We,
to.
I'm starting to see Tommy John a good bit in high school guys, but I'm also starting to see the nerve issue. Guys have nerve issues where the nerve is jumping out of the place it's supposed to be in, out of the little joint, and that's we've had a couple guys have that surgery over the last few years. So I just once again it's from overuse, and I think one thing we do a really good job of is we limit our guys early. I know some of the guys get frustrated. Like last night, we let our pitchers go about 30 to 40 pitches and we got them out. And I've heard some crazy stories from coaches already this spring where their players and pitchers are already throwing on their first outing 75, 80 pitches. That's crazy. That's
That's
wild. I mean, there's
that's
no reason
insane.
for that. Yeah, so we are very conscious about how much our guys throw, when they throw, um, and we always do check-ins, make sure they're healthy and they're feeling good. Just because, like I said, the injury's on the rise, and we don't want to be the reason why someone's getting injured.
And then I think part of the reason that you guys have these scrimmages in high school is to get ready for the season. So, in my opinion, there's no reason to make your pitchers throw 70 or 80 pitches in scrimmages because the whole point of scrimmages is to get ready for the season.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's crazy. Why are we throwing so many bullets? I call them because you only got so many.
Yeah.
Why are we throwing so many so early when the most important games are later in the year? Why when you get to the trying to win a region title or once you get to the playoffs, why burn a kid out this early when there's still a lot of season left?
Yeah. And then, to be honest with you, until you just brought that up, I didn't realize that burning out kids was a problem in the high school level. I just always heard about kids getting burnt out in the summer for travel ball. I never knew burning out kids uh, uh, was also something you had to watch out for in high school level.
Yeah, I mean you're starting to see it more and more because there is no break. Kind of similar to what we talked about earlier. There is no break anymore. These kids don't really get a true off season, and one thing we really try to do is tell all our guys like, hey, if you're going to play in the fall, you need to be done by Halloween, and you don't really need to do anything baseball related in the month of November. When we hit December, start getting ready for the next season at that point and give yourself some time. We put them on throwing programs. We it's not a one size fit all model. We gotta we sit down with every kid and give them a schedule of when our scrimmages are and kind of work backwards. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that a lot of people don't see. Than just hey, here's it. Than what people see on game day. There's a lot of prep that happened way before game day,
Oh yeah,
and so I just, I'm worried about the state of our game a little bit with the amount these kids are playing. These people are selling tournaments as if they're real big, and then you don't see any scouts in the stands. It's all a money grab, and I just, I hope at some point parents start to wise up and start to recognize what's really happening a little bit because guys, it kind of goes back to the old adage to me: if you're good enough, they're going to find you.
yeah, yep,
You don't have to go out there and with the world of social media, put it on social media now. You can put all the video you want out there and people sit there. I mean, it's getting expensive for coaches to recruit and they'll tell you our schedule has changed. We can't get out there and recruit as much as we can. So the more video, the more contact, the more camps you go to, the better. And actually going to camps is a lot better than going and playing actual games sometimes because now you're sitting right in their face to be recruited.
yep,
So that's where the game has changed a lot, and I really hope parents will recognize that and start to spend their money wisely.
yeah. Um, I saw a video the other day. I think it was on like Facebook or Instagram. It was talking about travel tournaments. And it was talking about like and some of these travel tournaments are called like the USSSA World Series, the USSSA World Series, the Perfect Game World Series, and then this guy was having a conversation with somebody, and he was like, "Oh, that's awesome! You guys are going to the Perfect Game World Series, USSSA World Series. How many teams are there?" And the other guy responded, "Oh, it's only 164 teams, but whoever wins, everybody gets a ring."
Yeah, and to me, that's where we've lost some of the some of we've kind of created this expectation that every kid deserves to play. we've kind of created this expectation that every kid deserves a walk-up song, and when you go to these tournaments, there's speakers everywhere and people are playing music and they all got walk-up songs and they all need this and they all need that, and it's kind of taken away some of that, you know, awesomeness that happens at the high school level. Like, I've had an assistant coach. He's no longer with us, but I taught he wanted each kid to pick out a walk-up song for JV baseball, and I'm like, look, I love JV baseball, but that's a varsity thing. That's something they have to earn. We've kind of taken away them earning anything and just kind of given it to them. And
Yeah.
so to me, as the varsity head coach, it's kind of frustrating at times to see some of this go on, because it's like it's now become an expectation versus something you earn.
Yeah. Talking about what you were just talking about, I remember going to a summer tournament about 4 or 5 years ago, and the first half inning was over, and the home plate umpire goes back. He's got a personal Bluetooth speaker, turns on the Bluetooth speaker and starts dancing in the middle of the innings. I look over to the other coaches and I was like, what the heck's going on right now,
Yeah,
man?
yeah, and it's just wild. I mean, there's so many different stories I can tell you about things I've seen, and it's just, I just think it's ruining the game, and I get it.
Yeah,
People want to play, but like you said, the way you word the name of these tournaments is what's getting people. Oh, let's go play at this World Series or this Invitational. Well, really, it's not a true invitational, because as long as you pay your money, exactly. As long as you pay your money, you can come in. They're not going to tell you
yeah,
no.
yeah,
It's a money grab, and
yeah,
it's frustrating, because what it's doing is burning kids out, and number two, it's getting kids hurt, because the travel ball game versus the high school game or even the college game, two totally different things. The travel side is, let me see how hard I can throw, let me see how far I can hit it. But in the high school game and in the college game, it's more of a program style game where you're going to have to lay bunts down. You're going to have to learn how to throw strikes. You're going to have to learn how to throw something other than a fastball.
yeah,
Um, and so it's just two totally different games. And it's something with young kids we fight. Like when we walk in and we do bunt coverages, they're like, what's bunt coverages? Or first and third defense. First and third defense, what do we need this for? Because at the high school level, coaches do a lot of things, and we got to be prepared for it. And it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's a good thing at one point, and it's a bad thing at another. And it's just, I wish we could find a way to bridge that gap a little bit.
yeah. This is the last thing I'll say. We can move on to the next thing. But every time I go in to a sporting goods store, like Academy, Dick's, or anything, and go to the baseball section, the section that the shelves are completely wiped out is the Evo Shield section and the $600 section for the hats.
Yeah.
Then I'll get your response on that, and then we can move on because we've been
Yeah.
harping on that for a while.
I mean, listen, the equipment side of this, and I have a 13-year-old who's involved in the game. He wanted a glove for Christmas, and he sends us a specific one that's custom. And you just start looking at some of these prices, and it's like, what are we doing? And the crazy part is, people are buying it. People are spending the money on it, and it's just like, I don't get me wrong, I'm guilty too. I'm guilty too. But I just think it's one of those things where it's just slowly getting out of hand, and but I will say the equipment's a lot better than when I was younger, so I mean
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome on that aspect. So but yeah, just I agree with you. It's There's kids rolling around, this is no lie, there are kids that roll around these fields with $2,500 worth of equipment in their bag. And it's just wild to me at 10 years old too, by the way.
yeah. I know how started talking about your son a little bit. I remember coming out there in 2018, 2019, and your son would be out there with you guys for the national anthem. How's he doing these days?
He's doing good. He's 13 now, which is crazy. About to turn 14 in a couple weeks. So we're getting closer and closer to driving. And but the cool part for him is he's a part of our coaching staff, and it's something as a dad that is really important to me that I get to spend time with him because as a coach, we're not home as much, and this is my way to get to spend time with him. And he's come in the last few years and each year, we've added more responsibility to him, and he's done an amazing job. He tells me all the time he wants to get into coaching, which I'm excited about for him. I think it'd be cool to see him get into coach, and maybe as I get older and I get out of being a head coach, I can go help him and keep him in line, like he keeps me in line. He'll tell me, "Hey, just let that go. Don't worry about it." And he's really good at those little subtle reminders. He has learned a lot, and I tell you, he's been very helpful. And I'm just excited I get to do that with him.
That's awesome to have your son part of what you're doing at Fort Mill. With your son being so young and helping out, one comparison that sort of reminds me of is Charlie Weiss Jr. being on the sidelines in Notre Dame when his dad, Charlie Weiss, was a head coach. He was out there on the sidelines wearing a headset. Obviously, I don't know exactly what he was in charge of, but if he had a headset on, I'm sure he was in charge of something. But 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 I just wanted to make that comparison and say how having your son out there, uh, well, so also besides just having him out there helping you, has also some really good father and son time too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard now not to cry about it because it was pretty cool. But um, I remember back in 22 where we played for the state championship, and one of the nights it was a crazy night. We went. My daughter was just born. We have a 3-year old as well, and my daughter was just born, so my wife didn't get to travel as much. And he went with us every year, everywhere that year. When he really, that's when he really kind of was old enough to stay out late and be able to get to school and do all that. And I just remember we're playing TL Hanna, and there was a crazy little section right at the end of the game. It was a tie ball game. We had first and second with 2 outs, ball in the dirt. Catcher come. Our two runners take off a ball in the dirt. Catcher comes up, throws it to third. Well, the umpire called batter's interference, which ended the inning for us. And now we're going into the bottom of the seventh with this happening. Well, as we get to the dugout, our players are on the field. The umpires got together and changed the call. So they put the runners back at second and third, our hitter back in the box. 2 pitches later, fly ball to right field. The right fielder and the second baseman stare at each other. The ball hits the ground. We score 2 runs. We end up winning that
Wow,
game. Yeah. And it was just such a
that's
change
a
of
heck of a
emotion. But
sequence.
it was, and it was like a 30-minute sequence. Then we go in, we score the runs and we win the game. And I just remember one of the greatest things I'll remember for the rest of my life is just me and him getting to spend some time after the game. He was crying, I was crying. It was just one of those things that I'll never forget because it was just a really cool moment because he was so excited. He was so excited. I was excited. Like I said, there was a lot of emotion right there because I was losing my mind on the umpires, to be honest with you. And then they came back and changed it because they knew they missed it. And then their coach was losing his mind, and it was so, and it changed the way the crowd was. The crowd was very cordial, and then that happened, and then it got real feisty, and
Yeah.
it was one of those moments, like I said, that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Just seeing his face, and just knowing that he was excited and proud of what we done, and I mean I know he is, but that's just one special moment that I always remember.
That's awesome. I also remember, since you were talking about yourself getting fired up, I remember back in about 2019 over at over at Rock Hill High School, the umpire missed one at home, and you came out of that dugout. I'll never forget that. I was standing right there on the third base line, and I saw you come out of that dugout, and I started counting on my hands. Started counting on my hands. How much longer does he have on this field before he's back there sitting on the team bus?
Yeah. In my younger days, I was known for giving some umpires some hard times. I will tell you, as I've gotten older, I've realized, listen, they're not going to change it.
No.
That's what made that TL Hannah one so crazy. Is never in my life have I seen an umpire literally. I heard him ask the other umpires, "Did I mess this up so bad I can't change it?" And they were like, "No, you have to change it."
Wow.
And so yeah, I remember the one you're talking about, and yeah, that was back in my feisty days. Now I'm a little more reserved. I
Yeah.
save it for when I need it. It's there. Don't
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. It's there when I need it, but if I don't have to use it, I try not to.
So I'm sure what you're probably doing is you're saving it for like the state playoffs or something like that,
Lot
rather
lot of
than
bigger things.
rather than using it up. So basically, you're saying that you're trying not to get thrown out of one of your preseason scrimmages.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to get a three
you're not
hundred
trying to
dollar
get thrown
fine
out
and
of
a
your preseason
suspension.
scrimmages and having to explain that one to your athletic director.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he really stresses to us no ejections, players or coaches. Sometimes I do feel like it's unavoidable as a head coach because you got to show your guys you got their back. And that's one thing I've always prided myself on. If I know something's wrong, I'm going to say something.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean I'm always correct, but if I feel like it's wrong, I've got to stand up for my guys, and that's the approach I always take. And but you got to know where that line is and where how far you can go versus how far you can't go, so you don't get ejected.
yeah. Well, I also know some of these umpires have some egos too. Some of the umpires
They
have
do.
some egos, and what they like to do is they like to purposely try to get these head coaches and try to just get them upset and try really hard to make the game about themselves and just have to give you guys the hook.
Yeah, I mean you see that from time to time, but I'll say one thing that doesn't matter who it is, umpires, coaches, whatever, we got to remember it's always about the kids and their
Yeah,
experience.
that's
And
true.
we got to make it about them versus making it about ourselves regardless. Doesn't matter what the situation is, it's about the kids at the end of the day.
Oh, what would you say is the biggest difference between a decent high school player and a great high school player?
The consistency in their work. Do they show up every day ready to work, know what they need to get accomplished, know what they need to work on, you know, and the consistency is there. It may not be the best day, but at least I look at one like BP. We get this question a lot. It's like, all right, what can I do to get some more at bats or more playing time? You need to be more consistent in your work. Are you working the same every single day, regardless if it's a good day or a bad day? Nobody should ever know if you're having a good day or a bad day at the end of the day. So I think the big thing is just the consistency in how they work. Do you take a play off? Do you skip a rep because we're not watching you necessarily? And that's the biggest difference I see.
And then, sort of like what you just said, what we were talking about earlier is what do college coaches look for, and what you just explained could be an answer to that question also.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, consistency is important, regardless. It's the same thing as being a parent. You got to consistently be there for your kids. You got to be trustworthy, and it's same thing with a coach. You got to come in, bring the same energy every single day, whether you're tired or not. We were off yesterday and from school, but my day still started at the field at noon and didn't end till 10 p.m. So, and that's an off day, like no school, nothing. I was still there 10 hours. So I think the thing is, recognizing that, if you want to play at the next level and do those things, the type of work you do has to be consistent every single day.
Yeah. And then um, another question I was going to ask you, which you sort of just answered, was what into the hours and being a head coach that you think the average fan, the average parent just would not notice?
Yeah, I mean, I think like yesterday's a perfect example. Like I said, it was a day off of school because we're off this week, and I got there at noon, started working on the field with one of my assistants, and then I left there, got some lunch for my kids because I was doing double duty yesterday, dad and baseball coach. We worked on the field till about roughly 2 o'clock. And then we went and got some lunch. I came home. I worked on my lineups and stuff for the scrimmage last night. Make sure we got stuff squared away for that so we could see what we were looking at, what we wanted to see during the scrimmage. And then and I was home long enough to do that and eat. And then I got back in the car, got my daughter to got her squared away and then went back over to the field at 3:30 and I was there till 10. So it's just a lot of long hours, a lot of worry. When we leave for the weekend, I always dread, like every time my phone goes off, like is that a kid telling me they're hurt or sick or something happened? It's just one of those things where for 4 months out of the year, it's a constant worry about what the kids are doing when they're not with us. Are they behaving? Are they staying healthy? you know just it's a lot. It can be a lot, and then you have to really love what you're doing to do what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. And then another thing I think the everyday person doesn't realize is not only are you the varsity head coach, you are in charge of the entire baseball program at Fort Mill, too.
Yeah, I mean, so like my normal day would be get up, get my kids to school, um, get to school, teach my three classes, but somewhere in there, work on practice planning, making sure fundraising's going right, make sure jerseys are washed, the gator has gas, the field is prepared and ready to go. Make sure the kids have snacks and food, and make sure concessions is ready to go. And it's just, there's a lot of things that go into every single day that I'll say this, I'm very blessed to have an amazing coaching staff that helps take a lot off my plate. Um,
That's good.
and if I didn't have that, I don't know how I would stay sane all these years. But I really feel like I am very, very lucky to have the staff that I have because they all come in, they're all prepared, they all do whatever they can to help, and I'm just very, very lucky in that aspect.
That's awesome. Um, what is the biggest difference in your coaching style today versus when you were just starting out?
I think when I first started out, I was more in your face type coach, like, hey, you messed up, I'm gonna let you know about it, versus now I'm realizing I didn't just realize it, but over the last few years, I've really started to focus on let them fail, let the kid fail. They need to learn how to fail, and then build them back up from there. I think that's very important. A lot of times we worry about just making them feel good so they play good, but at the end of the day, they've got to fail a little bit and learn how to handle failure before the success feels good. And so just working with them through that and being a little more, cautious in what I say and how I say things, and making sure guys understand we're here to support them. But we're going to tell you when you mess up, but it's not going to be as loud or demonstrative as it was when I first started.
Yeah. Um, what does a successful season to you look like beyond wins and losses?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think a lot of times we do get caught up in wins and losses, but at the end of the day, I think number one is getting out healthy. All right, making sure no kid gets hurt. And if we do get hurt, we're able to recover and get prepared for whatever's next. Um, I think, and just being able to me is for the kids to come back and say, Coach, I had a great time. I learned a lot. If we're doing our job, they come back and say those types of things. Um, and wins and losses are great, don't get me wrong, but I think building that relationship with each kid and seeing the smile on their face every day and them having fun, and then when things aren't going their way, working with them, and then they have some success and they get that big smile again. I think that's just the one of the most incredible things about coaching. So to me, those are types of things I look for. And when we have our exit meetings at the end of the year, they sit down and say, Coach, thank you. I had a lot of fun this year. I know it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but I had fun, and that's what we strive for.
That's probably awesome to see that and to know that you had something to do with your players the time that they were at Fort Mill High School.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I just think it's important that we recognize we get to play a big role in the shaping their life, outside of the house, and we don't take that for granted. I can tell you that.
What would it mean to you to be able to say that you won state championship at Fort Mill High School as a player and also as the head coach?
I think it would be absolutely incredible. Nothing would make me more happy than to put a lot of pride and happiness at Fort Mill High School because it's a special place to me. It's a special place to many I know in this town. But to me personally, it would be one of the greatest accomplishments I feel like we've done. Not so much for myself or the coaches, but for all the players that have been through there. All the guys that have helped, all the assistant coaches that have poured their heart and soul into the program. I know it would mean a lot to my son, and those are the things that I think people don't see as well as the amount of pride in just Fort Mill Township
Oh yeah.
versus I just think that's very important, and I know for me personally it would be amazing. It would be an amazing accomplishment because I think we've talked about this before, but there's not many coaches that can say they've won one as a coach and a
Oh yeah.
player at their alma mater. So I just think that would be really amazing if that day ever comes.
'Cause I think when we were talking about it previously, I think we said that I think that number was like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right. May have changed over the years, but at one point I know I heard like seven. There's been like seven across the state in
Um,
baseball. I don't know about other sports.
um, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean I'm thankful for you having me today, and I always beam with a lot of pride when I get to talk about Fort Mill baseball because it's a special place, and it's always been a special place, and a lot of amazing guys and players and coaches have been through there. And I am one thing, and this is a little shameless plug. I got selected to do the North South All Star games in May. That came out in the last week or so, and that's an incredible honor because I get to go represent our school across the state, and I'm really excited about that. And uh, I'm just thankful that we were able to get to sit down today and talk about Fort Mill baseball. Like I said, it's a very important thing for me in my life.
I just want to say congratulations on being named a coach to the South Carolina All Stars in, you said, May, right?
Yeah, May 27th is the game. More details will come out later, but yeah, I appreciate that. I'm really excited about it. It's a great opportunity.
I know, like 6 or 7 years ago, they had it down in Lexington, right?
Yeah, and then it moved to Sumter, and then it was at Lexington for a while, and Lexington, River Bluff, and Gilbert, and then last year it was in Sumter. So I don't know. They're still trying to work out a venue. I think they're trying to get back to Columbia, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
They haven't nailed that down quite yet.
I gotcha. So for the people watching this video, where can they keep up with Fort Mill baseball on social media?
Yeah, so we have an Instagram page. Um, Let me look up that handle for you. I'm sorry, I don't handle our social media, but it's Fort Mill Baseball on Instagram, and then on X we post some stuff there. That is at FMHS Baseball, and then our broadcaster. Our director of operations is what I call him, John Turner. He puts out some stuff on Fort Mill Broadcasting as well. So those are some places you can follow us throughout the season. We're 2 weeks away from going to our preseason tournament. 2 weeks away today, actually, down at the beach. Our first game is March 5th against Sumter High School. So we're getting closer pretty quickly, and we're excited about the season.
One thing I remember from when I would listen to John Turner is one of his famous lines is when a pitcher would throw a strike, he would say, he would say, right down Tom Hall Street.
He still does that right down Tom Hall Street. Me and Nolan, me and Nolan, my son, we use that a good bit around the house. When we're throwing the ball around or something, we'll yell that out, and yeah, he still uses that.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us today. Best of luck to the 2026 Fort Mill baseball team. Everybody watching this video, make sure you get out to see 1 or 2 home games this year and see what Yellow Jacket baseball is all about.
Well, thank you for having me.